Let me just say, we are celebrating tonight the 21st anniversary of the Nagorno Karabakh independence referendum. It's not Independence Day, it's the anniversary of the referendum of independence, and it's also the 6th anniversary of the adoption of the Constitution. And I think those are important in themselves. First of all, because we see Nagorno Karabakh as such an example of democracy. As was mentioned by the previous speakers, they've had parliamentary elections, they've had presidential elections, they've been characterized by independent international observers as very free and transparent. I personally went to see one of the presidential elections years ago, and I remarked at the time about how free and transparent it was. But beyond that, I also think it's important when we celebrate this referendum because of the principle of self-determination, which is a basic principle under the UN Charter and international law, and one that I think many times is either ignored or sort of not prioritized, and does not receive enough attention. And I also like to mention, as some of you have heard me say it many times before, and so I sound repetitive, that it was true under the Soviet Constitution, and I know a lot of people don't feel that there's much significance to the Soviet Constitution, but under the Soviet Constitution, states within the Soviet Union, I think Karabakh's was like an oblast, not an autonomous republic, but an oblast, had the, or autonomous state, had the right under the Soviet Constitution to secede and to have a referendum to accomplish that purpose. And so it was actually an exercise of that right that that referendum took place pursuant to the principle of self-determination. And there was a government in Nagorno Karabakh pursuant to the Soviet Constitution that existed from the very beginning of the Soviet Union. So if you characterize what happened in Nagorno Karabakh from the principles of international law from the very beginning, it was legitimately an independent republic and still continues to be today in the absence of recognition. It should be recognized, and I know it's not, and I know that's a difficult thing to accomplish, but it should be recognized because every effort was met under the law to secede and to establish a republic under the principles of international law as well as under the principles of the Soviet government that it was part of. And of course, we know that this little country has had to, had to fight a war for independence, which was successful, and an incredible situation where they were, the number of people they had in arms and the amount of resources they had was so small compared to the opposition, and has managed to establish a market economy and improve its infrastructure. For those of you who have had an opportunity to go, the difference today between where it was today versus 1991 is just incredible in terms of the infrastructure. A lot of that, of course, has been contributions from the Armenian diaspora, including some of the people in this room. But nonetheless, it has achieved all the trappings, if you will, of statehood, not only in terms of the way it was established, but also in terms of its being a democratic market economy with an increasingly significant infrastructure. So we're celebrating quite a bit here tonight, and I'm not going to continue to prolong it, but I did want to mention, I think Brad mentioned, but I will say that within the Armenian Caucus, we continue to prioritize and say that that the Minsk peace process is a priority, and that efforts by Azerbaijan to do the sable rattling and cross the ceasefire line and try to instigate what could become another war, we roundly condemn. We do not favor giving any military assistance to Azerbaijan because of the continued threats of war, among other things. And we feel very strongly that we have to continue with not only humanitarian assistance but also development assistance. And thanks to people like Brad and in the case of Adam, who's on the Foreign Operations Appropriations Committee. We managed to get language this year that was passed by the House of Representatives that said that at least $5 million has to go to Nagorno Karabakh, not only for humanitarian, but also for development assistance.